Why 5 a.m.? It's the best time I can think. And I think that I get the most done before everybody wakes up.
Getting ahead of people?
Yeah, man.
Yes.
100%. So about 2 months ago, I quit smoking cigarettes. I was smoking for about 20 years and started running. And here we are, 2 months later. Not a single craving. So I'm really proud of that right now. Made a lot of unhealthy decisions growing up in terms of my health. Not eating properly, not sleeping properly. It's never too late to reverse all those decisions that you make. So I'm feeling good. Just ready to smash the day. I try to have a huge breakfast because in my line of work with my schedule, I'm learning. I'm 3 weeks into this new job, and I'm learning that not every day you're gonna have time to have a full meal. Been in sales for what? How many years now? 15 years now, and I've sold everything from credit cards to cell phones to Lamborghini parts to cars to businesses, and I guess through the years as I grew older, it was just more expensive. So given the market in Vancouver, I just feel that it was a real natural transition for me. Signed up for the exam in May, did it in July, and I got my license 2 weeks ago. It's now September, right? So yeah, no, real estate's been great. It's definitely a bit of a challenge because it's something new, so there's so much to learn. I mean, one of the main reasons why I'm documenting this is not for myself, but really, I really wanted to show what it was like to be a realtor in Vancouver for the first year, because so many people want to do it, so many people aspire to do it, but they never pull the trigger. And if I can do it, anybody else can do it. So hopefully this will push someone else to go do the exam. Hopefully this will inspire somebody else to jump into real estate, because I do feel that for me anyways, it provides me a lot of time to spend with my son, and I'm really happy that I went down this path. One of the biggest changes for me switching from automotive to real estate is there are some big players in real estate, and I think for me to realize my potential, it was really more of a lifestyle change that I needed. I really wanted a stronger mind game, which is why with no more smoking, starting to run at 5 in the morning, it all kind of plays together for a better version of myself. One of my best friends told me 10 years ago was failure is not an option. And I've lived by that for the past 10, 12 years now. And that's one of the things I told my managing broker, and I think that's why he hired me. Failure is no option in this game. So we gotta make the changes. We gotta make the changes, man. This is gonna work. It's funny because I had no intention of joining Engel Volkers. When I first started to look for a brokerage, I actually told myself I would not join any brokerage that had really high fees. So I pretty much had my mindset on a specific brokerage, and one night I just decided to send a couple more kind of emails out to different brokerages, just kind of see what would come back. And the first one that came back was Engel Volkers. And how they crafted their email, they seemed genuinely interested in myself. So you know what? I thought, hey, what the hell? Why don't we go for an interview? And they wanted to see me. So I'm like, okay, let's do it. When I went for the interview, it totally blew me away. In terms of their level of professionalism, in terms of the standard that they have for everything. They have in-house marketing, in-house printing, so I saw a lot of value in that. I mean, yes, the fees are a little higher than others. It's probably one of the higher ones, but I sincerely believe that it was worth it. It's worth the money to be around so many great realtors. It's only gonna make me better. I've always been, I grew up around cars, essentially. And I had an opportunity to sell Lamborghini parts and distribute for a German tuner. So I decided in my 4th year to quit university and pursue that full time. You know, I did really well. You know, it was really fun. We made some cool videos. We got to be around some cool cars, made some money. And when I came back to Vancouver, I didn't feel that was enough for me. After a couple of years, I really felt like I've reached where I needed to reach in that industry. And I realized, hey, listen, I can do the same thing. I can manufacture my own parts. I can design my own parts. And I can launch it. And man, I was so wrong. It was not very easy. So and this is where actually my story, I feel like this is in 2011, this is where my story really begins. I partnered up with some angel investors in Vancouver, and it was a big project, big marketing, big media. We launched in a really large way, and it didn't do well. I felt that largely it was because of me, and I was not disciplined enough to ensure that the project was managed accurately when I look back at it. So that entire company failed. I put pretty much all my money into that company and I lost it all, every single dollar. So that was really hard for me. It was really difficult for me to let go of my ego. You know, I was almost very naive to think that I would be able to pull that off in such a short span of time. To add to that, that year, Sebastian was born, and his mother and I were still together, and actually 6 months after the failure of that company, his mother and I separated. And that really spiraled me into almost depression. I would say I was borderline depressed at that time. And the reason for that was because I came from a broken family. That's what you would call it, right? Like my mom was a single mom, took care of 2 kids, and I promised myself, I remember very distinctly, when I was 7, 8 years old, I told myself that I would never allow that to happen to my son. And fast forward to 2013, his mom and I separated, and that was really hard on me, especially with the failure of the company and the failure of the relationship. So I really had to kind of dig deep to get myself back up from that. But now when I look back at it, I wouldn't trade that for anything. That taught me lessons. You know, you have to fail. That's the thing. You have to have, and then Gary Vee says it all the time, you have to be comfortable failing. Continually fail forward. That's really important too. And obviously you don't want to be a failure, but there is a relationship with failure that you should have, a positive relationship for you to really do well. Because without that, you will never understand how hard you have to push to make it. What really makes you great and what really separates you from anybody else is your ability to rise when things get tough. I decided to get into the automotive industry and actually sell cars. I know so much about cars, I might as well sell it. I'd be really good at it. I joined a Subaru dealership for a year. I actually did very well. I was top of the dealership in my first month, and I made some good money. And so I just saved and I saved for that first year and moved over to Audi, where I really refined my skills in sales. I had some really good managers and I stayed there for about 4.5 years. So I saved enough money in 5 years, and I decided, hey, I want to start my own business again. So what did I want to do? An opportunity came for me to sell some automotive parts and be a distributor for it in Canada. Everything was going great, and in 2020 February we got an offer for it, and I decided to sell it. And you know, I'm excited about real estate in general because through all the lessons that I've learned, I almost feel that it has kind of guided me to where I need to be today. Things are really kind of getting put into place, you know, like so we'll see. I'm excited for it. This listing is important to me because I actually spent a lot of time there as a kid. It's an entire building on Hastings Street. Me and my cousins and my sister, we spent a lot of time there as kids just because we couldn't afford babysitters. I haven't been back there in 30 years now, 25 years. So it'll be interesting to see what it looks like, you know? Going back to places that you spent a lot of time as a kid really brings back a lot of memories. So I'm excited that I get the opportunity to hopefully sell this building and help my family out. So this is it. Again, not the most beautiful listing, but the land itself is really, really, really something. I'm kind of very taken back by being here right now, honestly. Pretty sure. That's me right there. In the polo shirt, that's me. My granddad actually, he started from like nothing. He started selling fish balls, from what I understand, in Hong Kong. It was one of the first companies in Hong Kong to own a stock brokerage. And then he just made his fortune buying real estate. He is a testament as to why working hard works. Right? You know, going from fish balls to stock brokerages to owning buildings. Like, that's a good story in itself, right? And then he retired when he was 40. He's now 95. Living the life for the past 55 years. It's pretty cool. It's sad to see that it's so ransacked, and obviously this entire building is a teardown, but I'm gonna do everything I can to make sure that we get the right price for this place. Yeah. I have some really good ideas on how to market it. And yeah.
Guess we'll see all the details.
Yeah. Just stay tuned for all the details, all the juicy details.